not that Wilson knows the matchup yet. Chalice of the Void and Thorn of Amethyst are going to be the most important cards, I believe.
Yeah, I would say that, well, we haven't talked about Andrea's deck yet, but I would say that I feel like Wilson might be a slight favorite because of those cards, but yeah, so Andrea's basically playing a show and tell deck here. I think it's almost exactly the one that Shota played at the last Pro Tour.
Yes, the only change, I believe, is there's one less predict and one more impulse.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed, honestly, that we didn't get to see this at the Pro Tour, because when we were testing for the PT, we played against Shota on Magic Online, and he had Goblin Rabble Masters in the sideboard.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool.
But I think Shota decided to play Thing in the Ice because it's a lot more resilient to like random lightning bolts.
Yeah.
Someone does point out Ensnaring Bridge is a good card versus deck. The way this particular deck is built, it can beat an Ensnaring Bridge because of Cunning Wish.
Yep. Yeah, I think Ensnaring Bridge is generally insane against Sneak and Show, but if it's more of a Cunning Wish version of Show and Tell, then Ensnaring Bridge does have moments like if they're going to Show and Tell into Nemrical, you want to have a bridge.
Yeah.
But it's not the blowout that it is against Sneak and Show.
Yeah, but basically think whoever wins the die roll is probably favored in the matchup is the actual answer, because if Mengucci gets to be on the play, he can avoid getting Chalice or Thorned on turn one immediately while potentially casting a cantrip.
Yeah, I think even Chalice is not always going to do anything. I mean, Mengucci can just play Show and Tell on turn two, So I think because the Steel Leaf Stompy deck's not very fast, it needs to definitely have cards like Thorn of Amethyst or Lodestone Golem really early to give it a good chance of winning.
Right, it's more of a prison deck and less of a Stomp deck. And here we are to the match. Let's see, who has won the die roll? It appears Wilson Hunter has won the die roll. And
so lucky.
I know.
Just kidding.
But look at Wilson's hand. There's that Soul Land we were talking about, as well as Hangerback Walker, Phyrexian Revoker, Steel Overseer. So he basically has his choice of 2 drops. They're not that disruptive, but Steel Overseer, I think, unchecked, is just so powerful that you can't really afford to mulligan this hand.
Yeah, I think that this hand's not great, but I would definitely keep it because basically being able to lead on a Steel Overseer and then go into a Hangerback Walker and then a Ravager, probably like a turn 4 kill, but it is a little awkward that there's no disruption.
Yeah. I actually did briefly talk to Wilson before. Wilson said he had no idea what Mengucci was playing, but he had a slight guess of Sneak and Show.
Okay.
The way the decks play out versus OmniTell versus Sneak, I think it's just very similar that from Wilson's side, it doesn't change much.
Yeah, I mean, he's still just going to cast the cards he can cast when he can cast them. I don't think it makes a big difference, you're right.
Right.
I mean, it makes cards like Sorcerer Spyglass. I'm not sure if he had that on the list or not. It makes those cards worse, but it doesn't change a whole lot about the matchup.
Fortunately, we can check real quick on the little display. There are 2 Spyglass and 3 Ensnaring Bridge in the sideboard, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, so he was really prepared for Sneak and Show. A little unfortunate that it ended up being Cunning Wish for his sake.
Yeah, that's one of the advantages to having Cunning, like, OmniTell setup. You're more resilient to things like that.
And I like his sequencing here of playing the Lotus Petal in the factory first instead of the city. Yep. That way he can play city as a second land and not have to lose it.
Agreed. So let's see, what is Mengucci missing? Mengucci's just missing the Omniscience really to kill his opponent, correct?
Yeah, he's 1 Omniscience short of lethal here, so he does have some cantrips. As long as Wilson doesn't draw something like Chalice, he has a lot of ways to dig for it.
Ooh, the Lodestone would have been great to have last turn, because that would have told you that you can't afford to use your Lotus Petal.
Yeah, I take it all back. He punted really hard with that Mishra's Factory Lotus Petal play. He should have known he was going to top deck the Lodestone Golem. Classic mistake.
But all joking aside, Wilson's play was correct at the time. So do you play Revoker here?
So I think I think playing Revoker makes sense for him because he's expecting a sneak attack, and he might name Lotus Petal. But he because Mengucci's not playing Sneak and Show, it's actually probably worse than playing Hangerback here.
Yeah, but it's hard to know that.
Yeah, no, it's impossible to know that. Off of Volcanic Preordain, I like his play a lot.
Yep. All right. Nope, no Omniscience off the top. Otherwise, the game would have ended on the spot.
Yep. Does he have anything he can Cunning Wish for that could help him find an Omniscience?
Let's look. They usually have an Intuition, but that's really slow.
Yeah, especially with Ancient Tombs as his lands.
And Preordained found 2 more Show and Tells. Definitely don't want those.
Yeah.
Get those out of here. He has there's actually no Intuition in the sideboard.
Here's a really interesting thing. If Wilson is able to get... Well, now he drew Thorn of Amethyst, but I was going to say if Mengucci goes Show and Tell for Omniscience and Wilson puts in Lodestone Golem, I believe... I'm not 100% on how the rules work, but I believe that's going to make him have to pay 1 for every spell.
It does.
Yeah.
Which is similar to Thalia versus Omniscience, which is why those cards are really powerful in the matchup.
Yeah, so I take it back once more. It's actually probably better for Wilson to have Lodestone in his hand than casting into a Force of Will. So. Yeah,
I think. What did Mengucci pitch? Because that tells you a lot. If he pitched a Cunning Wish, that actually gives a large sum of information, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a huge. He did pitch a Cunning Wish, and that is a huge amount of information. I don't think it changes how Wilson plays this game from here out that much. Maybe he chooses not to cast Lodestone Golem because of that information, but it's going to certainly influence how he sideboards.
I think that's the major thing. It's going to change. Oh no, there's the Merfolk.
That's bad news.
Actually, can we produce enough permanents to kill with Ravager?
Yeah, it's not actually... Well, yeah, I don't think he'll kill with Ravager, but I can definitely see a world in where between the Hangerback Walker and Steel Overseer that he can maybe do something here. It seems unlikely, but it's possible. Unfortunately for Steel Stompy fans, Mengucci's at a pretty high life total.
Right. I have seen it steal some wins from board states like these, but it would involve a Walking Ballista, I think. Exact answer.
I'm going to stomp on you for that pun, Jarvis.
You're going to try. Anyways, here comes a Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Yep, here comes a casual 15/15 flyer, Annihilator 6. GL.
GL.
Good luck, have fun.
So Wilson was hopeful that the Lodestone would be good enough, but I don't think it's going to be.
Nope.
Karn, not the card you wanted to draw here.
No, Karnal not going to get the job done. Wilson can delay the game, certainly here, with the Hangerback Walker, but I'm not sure if he can generate enough permanents to survive an Emrakul hit and
have a real plan.
Yeah, and do anything meaningful past that point. I don't think so. He can play a Hangerback for 1, use Steel Overseer to make it a 2, sack, 2 lands. He'd have to sack everything. So
yeah, so he would be left with 2 Thopters versus an Emrakul, which is not a winning battle.
No. Unless he has Caracas in his list, which I don't remember, but I doubt it. It's possible.
So he has 1 Caracas.
Okay.
But, you might as well play it to drawing your 1 outer out of, 50 cards.
Yeah, if he draws a Caracas, it's possible he could win. I'd still put my odds on Mengucci finding another kill before 2 Thopters get there, but
Yeah,
it's not out of the question. And also, I don't think Mengucci is fetched since he preordained 2 show and tells to the bottom.
right.
So, I guess there's a world where if he peels Caracas, Mengucci struggles to find another show and tell, and then that happens. I guess he could Cunning Wish for Intuition, but
The Intuition's not in his sideboard.
Oh,
It's
okay.
in his main deck. So
I guess he's losing his entire board anyway. So you
get the damage through. This is correct because he knows he's going to have to sacrifice his entire board.
Yep, get in for 5.
5 damage ain't nothing.
It is not nothing.
In fact, let me axe you about that.
So bad.
And you love it.
I do love it.
All right, so coming in for 15. As a Sneak and Show player in the past, how does this make you feel? How do attacking Emrakuls make you feel?
As someone who has not been playing Sneak and Show much lately, but rather been losing to it, I would say bad. Doesn't make me feel great.
All right. So Wilson playing to his outs by not blocking with any of them. Blocking doesn't really do much.
Yeah.
Actually, let me take that back. Doesn't it give him one more turn to draw Caracas if he blocks?
It does. You're right. Yeah.
Okay. So
it basically gives him an extra turn to see a Caracas, but lowers his chance of winning post Caracas.
yeah, but I think you need to double your chance of drawing Caracas. It's close though. I don't think it's a slam dunk either way.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So let's see. Ooh, I like Wilson looking to bring in a dismember against a potential thing in the ice.
I think Wilson realizes it's the list that Shuda played from the PT.
Yep.
Because all of the cards pointed to it.
Yeah, those ensnaring bridges, I mean, the spyglasses, I don't think do anything.
They're not great, but one thing that they do is give you information about how you want to sequence your spells, so maybe that's worth it.
I mean, I would guess that just the information alone is not worth it. However, I have seen hybridized lists that sometimes also play like a couple sneaks. So, it's reasonable to put them on potentially having a Sneak and Show sideboard or something.
Yeah, actually JPA, I think, played a list very close to that had a bunch of hybridized things in it. Like 3 Omniscience, 3 Sneak Attack, 4 Show and Tell, 3 Gristle, 3 Emrakul, and like 2 or 3 Cunning Wish.
Yeah, I played against a deck almost identical to that at the Pro Tour.
Mm-hmm. So, well, what's the last card under that? Let's find out.
I think Andrea's hand is really interesting this game. If he draws like Emrakul or Omniscience, he could just turn 1 win. But if he doesn't, his hand's really awkward.
Yeah,
I guess he ended up deciding to mulligan it.
Wilson's hand also interesting. It's a fast clock, like an extremely fast clock, but it has no disruption. I mean, I guess it technically has a lodestone on turn 2, but that's sometimes unreliable.
I think lodestone on turn 2 is definitely good enough. It's going to be, it's going to probably get forced of willed, but anything you play could get forced. Yeah, I think Andrea has interesting decisions to make here. I would keep the island for sure. He doesn't have a second land, but do you also keep the ponder?
I would bottom the ponder and just play out the Lotus Petal this turn to get it around a thorn.
Yeah, I would definitely be casting Lotus Petal this turn for sure.
Yeah.
But it is interesting about the ponder. I think I would personally bottom ponder, but he decided to keep it.
I think that's also fine. It's a little bit awkward if you get thorned to do that. Interesting. We drew an ensnaring bridge.
Yeah, that's going to shut off the Emrakul. There is an Omniscience if he does find a Show and Tell, but that can get that's probably actually just going to get pitched to Force of Will.
Interesting. Looks like Mengu was thinking about the impulse for a second.
I mean, I think he did pitch the impulse. That's interesting. I guess that when you keep the ponder on top, I guess that's okay. If he had bottomed the ponder, I would have definitely wanted impulse in my hand. Otherwise, you're just drawing, blanks off the top.
So one reason not to play the pedal, I think, is to hide the information for Revoker, right?
Yeah, that is certainly an argument against it. All right, so he decided to shuffle and drew the Flooded Strand anyway.
All right, so Wilson's plan, I think, is to go on the beatdown now.
I think he should just jam bridge and then not be able to attack.
That strikes me as not a great idea. One thing to note that Wilson actually took Walking Bliss out of his deck, so he cannot win without using the combat stuff.
Yeah. I thought bridge, and that
Brian, you're not going to.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to fix that. I'm having some issues.
Let's see, how much damage is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's really close to lethal here. I think Brian got exited from the call. Instead, you get to see a Merit Wage for now. But Brian will be back in a sec. All right, Chalice on 1. Wonder if that earns a Force of Will here. Nope. So we've shut off all of Mengucci's cantrips. Let's see, how fast is this clock? It's going to be 4. Looks like it's lethal next turn, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But there's another factory, so it's exactly 11.
Yep, I've been here the entire time. It's lethal next turn. No, I'm just kidding. So what did I miss? What did you see? Goodies did I miss, Jarvis?
You missed Wilson peeling a Chalice for 1, playing it, and then having a lethal attack in 2 turns.
Nice.
So not much. But Wilson's going to even up the match, and we're going to get to see more Magic, which is great.
More Magic is the best kind of Magic.
Yep.
Even if these 2 decks are not exactly the fun decks of Legacy.
No, they're kind of like ships passing in the night. Actually, I was thinking about that.
Yeah, they're just kind of doing their own thing.
It's a little bit more interactive, I think, from Wilson's side than it is from Mengucci's side, because the impetus is kind of on Wilson to have a lock piece, right?
It is, but he does have a lot of cards that can make things really, really annoying.
Right.
For example, putting in a golem off of a show and tell for Omniscience, or a number of things like that. So I think it's extreme. Like, it just seems like a very high variance match.
Agreed.
To me.
Oh. So Mengucci has 2 impulses in the hand, a show and tell, a force, and 3 lands. Probably a keep, right?
Yeah, that looks like a keep to me.
On the other side, we have...
I imagine the hand gets kept because it has an ensnaring bridge,
Yeah.
but it's a little bit slow off the start with just a Vault Scourge on turn 1.
So, how would you sequence Wilson's hand?
Okay, now that he drew a Lotus Petal, that changes things for sure.
Yeah. I think if you don't draw the petal, the turn's kind of weird.
So he can cast a 2-mana card, and I would probably lean on it being Steel Overseer.
Yeah.
And then I would actually just keep the petal instead of cracking it to cast a Vault Scourge.
Right, because you have a lodestone in your hand.
Yeah, you want to be able to cast one of your other spells the next turn. If he could also Spyglass here, which would be solid in that it shuts out the Flooded Strand in Mengucci's hand and forces him to use Ancient Tomb to start casting impulses, but I don't know if that's better than getting the Clock of the Steel Overseer online.
I would suspect that Wilson... actually, it's kind of close, I guess, but I think knowing Wilson's playstyle, he's going to go for the Overseer.
I lean pretty heavily that Overseer is correct because it doesn't really, like, just putting some amount of, like, minor disruptive elements into play is never a winning game plan against decks like this.
Right.
You have to also kill them. And right. I think you just kind of accept that if they turn to you, it happens, and just go for a more resilient, longer-term game plan.
Agreed. In fact, Wolfson is safe from the turn 2 if it's just Emrakul. If it's Omniscience, I don't know what's going to happen because Mengucci would get to see 8 cards from his deck, right?
So the thing is if...
Warping Well is a decent draw.
Yeah. So it would have been an interesting decision for Wilson if Mengucci had, like, cast a turn 2 Show and Tell. Do you put in Lodestone Golem or Ensnaring Bridge? I kind of lean towards Lodestone Golem, personally.
I would lean towards Lodestone Golem, but it's definitely a coin flip, which is kind of annoying, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it is really, like, because if Wilson then goes Omniscience, cast Emrakul, it's over, so... But if he just puts in the Emrakul, then you can cast the bridge the next turn. So I kind of think that,
Oh, that does make sense then. Yeah. Apparently your webcam's still off.
How is this possible? Done everything. All right, are we on now?
We see you now.
All right.
He's back. I'm pointing straight up to you because I'm on the bottom.
I really regret not having, like, a wig on or something. Just just a disguise.
Anyways, this game is going interestingly. If you notice, Mengucci did not go for the Show and Tell.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting.
So, yeah. You impulse in response, obviously, because you want to know if you actually need to force this, and if so, what you want to pitch to the force.
Exactly. There's a very high chance you find another blue card in your top 4 cards. If you're planning on pitching the impulse, then you probably get to replace it. If not, you can always go force, pitch, force. Keep the Show and Tell.
I feel like Mengucci sort of has the read that there's an Ensnaring Bridge, and this is why he's doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he might have been playing around something like Bridge or Warping Whale.
Yep.
But it is interesting because you don't have infinite time. But I could definitely see him wanting to find an Omniscience before he casts the Show and Tell. Because there's a good chance that Emrakul's not enough. So.
Right. I mean, he just knows that all of the Stompy decks have Ensnaring Bridge post board, and that's one of the likely holdings, right?
Yep. It could also be Caracas. It could be a number of things.
Yeah. Cunning Wish is interesting.
So I think I would keep the cards, cast a Show and Tell, and put in Emrakul. And I'm not sure if I would fetch away the Cunning Wish or not, but he opted to go for Brainstorm.
Yep. And there's another Cunning Wish. The real issue here is we're sort of Brainstorm locked for a bit.
Yeah, I think he just has to cast Show and Tell for Emrakul because he's not going to be doing anything else for the next few turns. The longer you wait, the worse it gets, I think. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think Yep, Mengucci immediately realizes that and just jams here.
Yep.
Now we're going to get into a weird game. I guess we have Wish for Echoing Truth, right? From Wilson's side?
Yep.
From Mengucci's side? Let me check, because that's really important to see what's in the sideboard. There's one Echoing Truth. I do not believe it got sideboarded in.
Okay. If that's the case, he had just brainstormed back a land, so I guess he doesn't even need the link because he's Ancient Tomb. So he has the capability of just not killing next turn, but basically killing.
Right. And we did just confirm that Mengucci left Echoing Truth in his sideboard, which makes sense. So this is going to turn out to be a little bit awkward for Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, I think losing the game is pretty awkward, personally.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the game's over yet, but it looks pretty grim, I think, if he can just Cunning Wish for Echoing Truth, bounce the bridge.
Then he's left with 0 permanents, actually, right?
Yeah, he's left with 0 permanents, and he has to draw Caracas, so...
The exact same situation as game 1.
Yep, running for the old Miser's Caracas.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
Depends on who you're rooting for, Jarvis.
Well, I was just rooting to see some good Magic.
I thought this was a pretty good game, actually.
Yeah, it was actually. There was a lot of small decisions, but Emrakul takes no prisoners.
No, it does not.
What this?
I think he's activating Steel Overseer in response to the Cunning Wish in case Mengucci gets something that would disrupt his battlefield.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Unfortunately, the card that he's actually going to get does disrupt his battlefield, but not in any way that Steel Overseer can handle it with.
Yeah, it disrupts his battlefield in that he has no battlefield.
Yep. All right. Wilson, don't pack it in yet. Come on, play it to your 1 out of 49 outer.
I want to see him draw that Caracas, and then the game goes on like 50 more turns.
Yes. I would actually enjoy the heck out of that. I think that would be amusing. It's not likely, but it would be amusing.
No.
Heck. All right. Drum roll coming.
It's going to be
over.
I don't even know. I don't want to speculate.
Second Ensnaring Bridge, exactly the card you don't want to see. Well,
Yep.
Well played by Mengucci. It was pretty evenly matched, I think, but the advantage of having Cunning Wish in your deck sort of showed in that game.
Yeah, he actually had a variety of options of what he could do to beat hate cards, which is pretty important because a lot of times Show and Tell decks can fold to cards like Ensnaring Bridge if they're not uniquely prepared for it, but Cunning Wish lets you be prepared for it without having to put bad cards into your main deck in preparation.
Right. And also you can get around weird board states with all sorts of hate permanents when you have Cunning Wish in your deck. I don't know, probably Rip Helm or something weird like that. I don't know. There's a lot of weird things. But anyways, well played by both competitors. Mengucci advances, and unfortunately Wilson's out. This was the second elimination match, I think.
Yep, as the unfortunate end for our Wilson Hunter friend.
Yeah. Oh, and Edgar Mahale's in the chat saying beating Bridge is interesting because I know you have some experiences with Ensnaring Bridge versus him from the Pro Tour.
Yeah, in fact, I do have an experience. It was, in my opinion, a great one, but your mileage may vary. So,
in any case, I'd like to thank our sponsors, MTG First. You can see them at all of the SCG Opens, and they have a great selection of stuff, and they run the Quest for Power series. I played the last one, made top 8, did not win an Ancestral Recall, but I tried my hardest. Great. Card Order, you get cards from them for You can borrow cards. If you have their rental service, you can buy cards. You can sell tickets to them. They're just great. And MTG, the epicstorm.com, and Cardboard.live are also sponsors. So, shout outs to all of them for making this happen.
Woo!
Woo! Anyways, I think I need to go to get ready for my match.
Well, good luck, Jarvis.
Yes, I'm going to need it.
I'm counting on you.
You're counting on me?
I'm counting on you personally.
All right. Thank you.